Cleveland to cover after you buy a 1.5. Appreciate all of you joining us as we go through NFL Week 14. Amazing to think we're already to the 14th week of the NFL season. Seems to go by way too fast. But here we are. And the team that is right now the best in the NFL, at least according to record, is the 11-1 Philadelphia Eagles. They have a big game against an NFC East rival, the 7-4-1 New York Giants. They have that ugly -1 at the end of their record right now because of a tie that they had with the Commanders last week. This game between the Eagles and Giants is on Fox, where I see it. The Eagles are a 6.5-point favorite, and the over-under is set at 45 points. Some gambling trends, and then we'll get to everyone's analysis. The underdog is 5-2 against the spread in the last 7 meetings between the Eagles and Giants. The Eagles are 4-0 against the spread versus a team with a winning record. The Giants are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 home games. The under is 5-2 in the last 7 meetings between the two, and the over is 6-1 in the Eagles' last 7 games overall. Adam, what are your thoughts on Eagles-Giants?
Well, we always talk about these big numbers in division games, much less laying one on the road. You know, the home team catching 7 is a pretty big number in this game. You know, the Giants obviously had a tough game against Washington, ended in a tie. You know, all likelihood they had a lot of chances to win that game. They couldn't get it done. The flip side of that coin, Philadelphia just ran Tennessee out of the gym and showed that they can win either way. The week before, they showed that they can run the football down your throat and beat the Packers, and then they come back the next week against a bad Tennessee pass defense and throw the ball over them. So Philadelphia is just very dynamic. These last couple of weeks, I know they kind of sputtered a little bit there, but they look like they're starting to come back into form, and they have a lot. They can win games in a lot of ways. One thing that makes me nervous in this game is this Giants defense. They're 18th against the pass and 26th against the run. Washington last week Heineke had 275 for 2 touchdowns and a combined effort running the ball for 180 yards on the ground. So that makes me a little bit nervous. And the Giants offensive line also allowed 4 sacks on Daniel Jones. But however, Philadelphia is 1-4 against the spread this year on the road. And like we talked about, the big line in a divisional game, it makes me nervous. Everything points that Philadelphia should be able to move the football against the Giants and score, not necessarily run them out of the gym like they did Tennessee, but you know, the arrows point to Philly covering this line. But for me, again, division game, big line on the road. I just feel safer with Philadelphia in the money line, and I would buy the points down a little bit to 43.5, and I like the over.
Dennis, where should we be looking in this game for fantasy opportunities?
You know, I'll give a quick shout to Darius Slayton just because he's very inexpensive on DraftKings DFS purposes, $5,100. He's had double digits in 6 of the last 8 weeks. But a bet that I'm actually eyeballing right now would be any prop bets by team or by player involving the rushing yards. The forecast is calling for, I think, 46 degrees and rain. Philly is 5th in the league in rushing yards per game. The Giants are 6th in the league rushing yards per game. Both of the teams are prolific running teams because of their quarterbacks. And I frankly see Daniel Jones scrambling, running for his life when he's under pressure. So if I can keep an eye on the forecast and it still stays true as to where it is now, I think I'd be looking at whatever prop bets might be out there, looking at the over on that.
It's a great call from Dennis. And if you want to get ahead of the weather reports for Sunday, go to NFLweather.com. You can check out every game, including the weather for every quarter of every game. Makes it so much easier early in the week as you're trying to take advantage of some of the early lines that Vegas puts out there. You want to take advantage of it and yet get ahead of information. Hard to do that when you're 6 days away from weather, 5 days away from weather, but that's a great website for it. So NFLweather.com, highly recommend it. Lope, what are your thoughts on this game between the Eagles and the Giants?
Yes, obviously it's a huge line, but when the Eagles are 11-1, it comes with the territory. So I'm not too keen either way on the line quite yet. But one thing that I'm going to say back to Dennis's point is both teams like to run the ball, so I could see the clock being ate a lot and longer drives. So I'm actually going to side with the under. I think that's more where I'll look to play money here on this game. But as for the spread, I think I'm going to hold off for now.
I can totally understand that, Lope, and I'm having a similar concern, which is I'm having recency bias. I just saw the Eagles destroy a Tennessee Titans team that I expected to cover. And the fact that they did so in such impressive fashion has me wondering now, should I believe that the Eagles are once again going to cover this one? I'm leaning towards the Giants covering. I'm not putting money down just yet, but I'm thinking about getting Giants +8 after I buy the 1.5. Because we've spoken on this show throughout the season, when you get divisional opponents getting with the underdog getting more than a touchdown, they cover around 70% of the time. It really is a great bet to make, so I'll probably do that. But I want to see if the public kind of pushes that even more in my favor. Then to Dennis's point about the weather and how Lope was even talking about this, I like the under in this game because I see both teams needing to run the football. I'm not as good a high on Slayton as Dennis is, simply because I think the secondary and pass defense of the Eagles is so good. I don't expect Daniel Jones to be able to have too many successful passes downfield, especially in the weather. So I love the idea of getting Daniel Jones on his rushing prop bet, or Jalen Hurts on his rushing prop bet, Sanders as well, maybe Saquon Barkley, given how the Eagles defense has played. I know they played better last week. But that said, I think this is going to be a game on the ground, keeps the clock rolling. For that reason, I like the under as well. As always, Butt Fumble Sports likes to try and cash our tickets. So we'll buy the 1.5 and get the under 46.5. But the Butt Fumble Sports pick for this one is the under, as well as Eagles on the money line. We're considering the Giants to cover, but we're not quite there yet. Appreciate all of you joining us on Twitter Spaces. Please give us a follow at Sports Fumble, and of course on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Butt Fumble Sports. Appreciate all the guys joining us to go through this slate of games. A great week